Hi everyone, it's Father Eric Mah from the Archdiocese of Toronto. You probably noticed that a lot of the parables of Jesus Christ, at least on the surface, they seem to be all about economics and productivities. And so, for example, a lot of times when it comes to these particular parables, there's a vineyard, there are workers, there are people sent to collect. And so again, at least on the surface, these particular stories, these particular parables, seem to be all about economics and productivities, until you get to the end. And so time and time again, what you find at the end of these different stories is that in retrospect, it really wasn't about the money. It really wasn't about the vineyard. It wasn't about economics or productivities. Basically what was happening, God was putting people in situations to teach them a lesson, or perhaps more accurately, to reveal the truth that was already there about who they were in terms of their own kind of personal character. And you see, what's interesting is that once you understand that particular point, it should really change your understanding of the spiritual life, especially when it comes to the notion of our eternal destiny in Christ. And so think of it like this. I think for a lot of us, when we think about, for example, the final judgment, we think that when we come before the judgment seat of God, what we will show to the Lord primarily are the things that we've done, right? Here are the things that we've done. Here are the things that we've accomplished. Here are the things that we've produced. But again, if you go back to these parables we just kind of talked about, again, it's not about the money, right? It's not about efficiency. It's not about economics or productivities. And so therefore, when it comes to the final judgment, like, what is it that I have to offer to the Lord? Not so much the things that I've done, not so much the things that I've accomplished, if you will, but rather the person I've become. It sounds kind of dramatic, but in a certain sense, all you have to produce to the Lord at the end of your life is the person you finally become, as a result of the various choices you've made over the course of your life. And you know, what's interesting is that I think that at that particular moment, again, the moment of the final judgment, when we realize, the primacy of being as opposed to doing, we will appreciate and understand in retrospect how much our community was really invaluable in terms of shaping us into the persons that God was calling us to be, right? And so certainly the unitive aspect of community, we'll realize, was really influential in terms of shaping us and forming us, right? So think about people who share common virtues, a common sense of mission, right? So basically we need friends, we need family, we need people to support us on the pilgrim journey, right? So hopefully that goes without saying. But also, perhaps surprisingly, we will realize at that moment that the diversity aspect of community was not just equally important, but in a certain sense, more important. And by this, I don't just mean people who help us to solve really complex societal problems because they have skill sets perhaps that don't exactly match ours, but also people that we found to be perhaps difficult, challenging, just really kind of hard to be around, if you will. Because, that's the thing about having tension in a community, whether we're talking about a parish community, a family, work relationships, whatever the case may be, these people who bring about the tension in terms of our relationship with them, they have a way of kind of stretching us, forcing us to go to a way of holiness, almost in a certain sense against our will, and thereby helping us to become the persons that God is calling us to be. And at the end of the day, isn't that what it's really all about? And may God bless you all.